What we have enabled. Whenever you create a new sales order or edit an existing sales order which is dated after 1st of June, you will see that memo field will be mandatory. So let's say, if I go create sales order. So. If I'm making a field mandatory. Actually it should be record before record load, not record submit. I'm just making a field mandatory. So here, if you go to, there is the system notes, here the system notes also. So now I think the admin for this account has disabled the System Information tab. Otherwise, under System Information, you will be able to see all that workflow history also. So how it triggered, how it executed, and everything. Why I don't? This is a standard thing. I don't know why they have disabled it. Let me just see Customize. From. Right now the hosting stage. So it's confusing, are you okay? Apprentice atrocitomy. System information. System information is allowable. Why don't you have? No. Information is checked only right. That's weird. I pushed it. I don't see it here. Finally. And to come here personally. You understood the basic thing right. This is how you create a workload. Okay, let me do that, that's okay. If you want. Or maybe I'll try it on a different field altogether. Okay, and we'll try to remove this condition also. The more. Okay. You're saying, okay, now it has to be done on the transactions only. I cannot change the type. The code type. Let me try it on vendor bill. No description. Nothing. Record. Record type to vendor bill on this action. We are saying, set the field memo as mandatory on vendor bill. Okay. And I hope we have a field on vendor bill. Enter vendor bill. Yeah. You see the memo field has become mandatory now. On vendor bill. Right as soon as the record is loaded. And we can see that the action is before record load. It has become mandatory. So this is what we achieve using workflow, so workflow. The better thing about workflow is that it is easily configurable and customizable. So you can just come here, configure it and then change. Make changes, so anybody who is not very familiar with scripting can definitely build a workflow. So this is actually, functional. It is actually part of functional thing. So anybody who is, functional consultant, can do the works and workflows? They can create a workflow, configure it and all that can be done here. Okay. Now, this is a very simple workflow. So what we did? We just have. We just created a workflow and set up the memo field mandatory on record load. Similarly, you can add tons of actions, tons of stages. Once you know how do you want to flow from one stage to another, so all that can be done. Yeah, so now thing with workflow is that it had this feature available, but there are still certain limitations. Okay. For example, you cannot, you will not find an option to put conditions on line level fields. So let's say you have in case of a transaction, you have a body level field and line level field, right? Be it when to build a particular thing. The workflow does not have an option to, put any condition on line level field. And other than that, if there is an action you want to build some additional logic which is not directly available in workflow, could be any action. Right. The workflow has this basic action you can create. You can send an email or create a button or all that. Right, but you cannot. If, let's say, from workflow, you want to call another logic, like all of the customization or redirect to any page or anything that are not there in workflow. So workflow has limited set of actions and possibilities. So what NetSuite has come up with? They have this additional, option where you can create a script, write your additional logic, which is not doable, directly in workflow and use it or attach it to the workflow. That is called a workflow action script. So it will trigger as soon as your workflow, when your workflow triggers and whatever action you have defined there. So even basically, whatever event you have defined there, it will trigger on that event and this script will also trigger. And then you can know this additional functionality, whatever is not achievable in workflow directly, you can achieve that by using workflow action script. Okay, so create custom workflow actions that are defined on record in the workflow. Workflow action script are useful for performing actions on sublist, because sublist fields are not currently available to Workflow Manager. Right, as I told you. Now workflow action script. It has only one function. Function name is onAction. It is very similar to user event. Okay. Because it is again triggering on a particular event, only on event like this, only before load up, before submit, after submit and all that. It is very similar to user event script. So whatever the way user event works it is, it will be working in a similar fashion. It's just that it will trigger on a particular event, wherever you attach it to, and you can do the necessary actions.